Hi everyone, welcome back to Quirky Pineapples. If you're new here, I'm Vina, a plant-based recipe developer and food blogger. And today I'm going to share with you some must-try vegan restaurants in Tokyo, Japan. Now, if you haven't seen my vegan restaurant kind of tour in Kyoto, then I will make sure that I link that video for you as well. But I know spring is on its way and a lot of people are headed to Japan for sakura or cherry blossom season, which I'm sure some vegans are going, and you may find it helpful. And so there's about 4 or 5 restaurants that I highly recommend that you check out. I didn't get to go to nearly as many as I know that there are. A lot of the restaurants that I chose were mostly based on location, depending on where we were at any given moment. Except there was one specific restaurant that I felt like I absolutely had to try. For a lot of the restaurants, when I was in Japan, I did use the Happy Cow app to help me. If you have not downloaded Happy Cow as a vegan or vegetarian, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know how you're surviving out there. But it is an incredibly helpful tool, especially when you are traveling, to use. You just type in your location, and you even have the option of if you want vegan only restaurants, whether you want vegan options or vegetarian options. And so I have used Happy Cow in, aside from Japan, I've used it in Portugal, I've used it in Germany, I have used it in Spain, I've used it in various states throughout the US, and it has never failed me. So I would say one really good place to start if you're trying to plan your trip to Japan or anywhere else for that matter is to download the Happy Cow app. I think at the time, I don't know how much it is now, but at the time that I downloaded the app, it was $5 and it was one time, and that thing has paid for itself many times over. So I would say definitely try out Happy Cow to help you, because you may be interested in certain foods that you really want to try and kind of see what's available to you. So let's get started. So our first day in Tokyo, we were coming in on the Shinkansen. We were coming in on the Shinkansen from Kyoto, coming back to Tokyo. And we wanted to make sure that we checked out Tea's Tantan. Now, if you watched any other videos about visiting Tokyo, you probably have heard of Tea's Tantan. It is in the Tokyo station, and it is totally worth the amount of times that we probably had to ask for help finding it, because my gosh, this place was absolutely delicious. We ended up ordering 2 bowls of the Tantan ramen, and I think I added soy meat to mine, as well as some gyozas. And my gosh, after being on a train ride, a 2-hour train ride, I think it was a little less than that, but after being on a train ride for a while, it came in handy so much. So I would highly, highly recommend checking out Tea's Tantan in Tokyo Station. I don't know if there's any other locations throughout Tokyo. This was the main one that everyone had recommended, and it is totally worth the hype. And then after checking into our hotel, when we finally kind of made our way to our hotel, it was almost dark. So we mostly had Tea's Tantan for lunch. And we'll talk a little bit about the breakfast situation in Japan in just a moment. But we went to dinner at a place called Alchemy. Now, as far as I know, this is a chain. They may have several locations throughout Japan. As far as I know, they also have locations in like Bali, Indonesia as well. But the location that we went to, and please do not come for me if I don't say this right, Azabudai Hills. We stayed in the Roppongi area, kind of like the Minato City Roppongi area. And so this area was really close by. We actually were able to walk there from our hotel. I believe we stayed at the Continental. We did. We stayed at the ANA Continental in Minato or Roppongi. I'm not 100% sure. It was kind of on the borderline, but Alchemy was in the Azabudai Hills Mall. And so if you like luxury shopping, then this is a great location for you as well. And here we had these absolutely delicious bowls of like sesame crusted tofu with like an assortment of like vegetables. And we even tried out a couple of smoothies there. Usually when I travel, I try to make sure that I'm eating fairly like balanced. As you know, it's really easy to like fall out of eating some whole foods when you're traveling. So this place was a really good option to help with being able to have something a little healthier after eating a big bowl of ramen, because ramen is delicious, but it's not the most healthy thing in the world. So like I said, I just try to balance it out. And this place was actually really good. It was conveniently located. And then we were able to like roam around the mall afterward. We didn't want to do too much on that first day because we had spent so much time traveling. So yeah, on day 2, and here's where breakfast kind of comes in. On day 2, we had our breakfast at the hotel. I will say hotels, at least in Japan, know how to do their breakfast buffet right, because there were many, many options available. Husbandron is pescatarian, so of course he was well accommodated. But for me, I had to really just pay attention to labeling and things like that. Breakfast, as far as in Japan, things open very late. So having breakfast at 9 o'clock in the morning is not really a thing, as a lot of things don't open until about 10 or 11 o'clock. And so we had our appointment to go to Team Labs and enjoy Team Labs at 11 o'clock. So we just went ahead with the hotel breakfast because there wasn't going to be anything open yet anyway. And so I was able to eat things like muesli with soy milk for a little bit of protein. There was always, you know, we stayed at 3 different hotels when we were in Japan, and we were always able to get things like tofu. And so I was able to have like things like soft tofu and just an assortment of like fruits and veggies and things like that, just to get me going. I think even at one hotel, I was able to get like kind of like a 3-bean salad to like help me through. But there were definitely options for me there at the hotel. It just, you know, thankfully there was a huge assortment. So I just had to pay attention to labels and things like that. Once we went to Team Labs, now there is a vegan ramen spot that is right outside of Team Labs. But when we visited, it was so incredibly hot and there was no indoor seating for this ramen spot. We decided to go ahead and skip it, but I have heard some really good things about it. So we ended up meeting with a friend in Shibuya instead. We went to the Matcha and enjoyed a good matcha. And I think this was like my first like formal matcha of the trip. And I was able to have like a matcha cookie, which was really good. It was a vegan matcha cookie. And then we ended up running around shopping so much that we kind of ended up skipping lunch. So we went to a place called Two Foods. Again, this one is a chain, and that's totally okay. We were already in Shibuya and it was super convenient for us there. I ended up actually going to Two Foods twice because they're really conveniently located, once in Shibuya and once in Ginza. The one in Shibuya, I believe I ended up, a lot of the Japanese options were sold out, unfortunately. And so I ended up having to go with kind of more Western options, which was chicken nuggets and fries, vegan chicken nuggets and fries. I'm not the most proud of that. Don't judge me. And I know there's some people out there who travel and they just eat chicken tenders and fries, and I don't hate. But in this case, because we had gone so late in the day, they had sold out of a lot of their Japanese options. So they had things like a curry and umarice, which looked absolutely delicious on the menu. They had so many things that just looked really delicious, but because of the time of day, it sold out. So just keep that in mind if you do visit Two Foods. The second time that we went to Two Foods, we were doing some shopping in the Ginza area. And this one, they both were located in the Loft department store, where it's like 8 or 9 floors of different things. They tend to be located on the first floor, which made it really easy. But on the second trip, I ended up having like this teriyaki burger, which was, oh my gosh, it was just It was so good. It was so very good. I was curious about whether they had kind of this egg type. It almost looked like just egg, but it looked really good. And Husbandtron tried it out. And actually, my friend that was with us tried it out as well. She was kind of helping us navigate Japan, which was so helpful. So shout out to Maki. Thank you, Maki. She had tried it and she was like, she's not vegan. And she was like, this tastes exactly like egg to me. And I've been trying to figure out how, if I go back to Japan, how I can get that back here or if I could order it. So yeah, really, really delicious food options at Two Foods. And then on our third day, we went to Nakamagura, which if you haven't heard of it yet, look it up, see some YouTube videos about it. But it is a neighborhood that is a complete and total relaxed vibe. And so we went to Nakamagura again to do shopping because, I mean, aside from visiting historical sites, temples, and shrines, what else do you do besides shop? I mean, yes, there's lots of things to do, but if you're in Tokyo, you want to get some shopping done. So we did a little bit of shopping in Nakamagura, and we stopped at a cafe called Hima Cafe. Again, just getting out of the heat and to enjoy ourselves. But Husbandtron had kind of a latte, and he really enjoyed it. And I had a frozen lemonade, which just on a hot day, it just completely hit the spot. And then we ended the night at SOPH Journey. I mentioned this in my Kyoto video. But what I really like about this particular place is that there are Japanese and Western options, but I would have to say the Japanese options are absolutely amazing. In this case, we were in Shinjuku and we were kind of seeing sights and going to see the big, like, little police cat and things like that. And again, to do more shopping, judge your mama. But by the time we were finished with a lot of our shopping, we were so tired because we had done so much throughout the day. We did a lot of walking. And so when I pulled up my Happy Cow app, it just so happened that there was an SOPH right around the corner. And so we tried out the Tokyo location and had a meal set that had all of these different options that were really, really good. It came with lots of like fresh vegetables and different things like that, along with it was something that had okra in it, and it was so absolutely delicious. And now that I'm back home, all I want to eat is okra, because I used to eat okra a lot when I lived in the South, and then as soon as I left, I didn't touch okra. And having okra in Japan, it was just like, it awakened something in me, like reminding me, like, why aren't you eating okra anymore? So there was okra and different types of things on the plate, just a lot of different varieties that a variety of food so that you can taste things and kind of get to know things, kind of similar to something that we had in Kyoto too, where it was like a set with different vegetables and things like that, where even if you don't like something on your plate, you can find something that you really like. And if I have to say anything, the food and the service in Japan are just, they're top notch. I can't think of a single thing where I was just like, I don't really like this. Not that I would tell you guys anyway, because I don't yuck other people's yums. But honestly speaking, there was nothing that I ate in Japan that I wouldn't eat again. Everything was really great. So those were some really great restaurants that I tried out in Tokyo. I highly recommend them. I'll make sure to link the names of the restaurants and the locations in the description below. So again, that was Tea's Tantan, Alchemy. There was the Matcha, Two Foods, and SOPH and Hima Cafe, even though that technically wasn't exactly like Hima Cafe and the Matcha were technically just cafes, but still really nice. And I will say almost any cafe that you hop into will have a soy milk or an oat milk option for you. So don't be afraid. There's a big coffee culture in Japan as well. Unfortunately, while I was there, I was kind of in that state where I couldn't drink too much coffee, but every coffee drink that I had was absolutely delicious. So definitely pop into cafes when you're there. Don't be afraid as someone who can't have dairy, because like I said, there's usually a soy milk or oat milk option available to you. But yes, I can't recommend visiting Japan enough. It was quite the experience. And with some planning, I feel like I didn't have any problems finding options for myself to eat. Even if I had to order things and omit things and just ask for, something to not be added, like egg and things like that, it was actually really, really simple. So if you're going to Tokyo anytime soon, I really hope that you enjoy your trip and that you have the most fun ever. Enjoy all the delicious food. And I hope that you found this video helpful. So yeah, if you want to check out any of my recipes, you can always check me out on quirkypineapples.com. But thanks so much for joining me. And I hope you enjoy your Tokyo travels if you're going. Bye.